911, what is your emergency?
Hi, I live in Maple Heights, Ohio, and I was getting in my car, and we heard a real loud bang, and now we see a whole bunch of particles just falling from the sky. We don't know if it's a bomb.
It was an early morning house explosion in southeast Cleveland. It destroyed several homes and sent several people to the hospital. Our live breaking news team coverage begins right now.
News Channel 5 on your side starts now.
Good afternoon. It is a breaking story we followed all morning long. A house explosion in Cleveland leaves several homes destroyed and neighbors hospitalized. We have live team coverage on the story. Kristen Sovevereigns is live at Metro Health Medical Center where the victims were taken. But our breaking news live team coverage begins with News Channel 5's Marielle Liu, who's been on the scene there in southeast Cleveland all morning long. Marielle, what can you tell us now?
Well, Leon, I can tell you the devastation from this explosion is unimaginable. The blast was so powerful. Cars nearby were completely turned over. Fire officials on the scene say the scene is reminiscent of the West 83rd Street explosion. News Channel 5 was allowed behind this police tape. We got a close-up look at the devastation. Take a look at this video. Only the basement of the house that exploded is left standing. The 3 houses next door totally destroyed. In all, so far, 16 houses are damaged. Windows and cars several blocks away were damaged. People who were inside of their homes sleeping when this happened said they thought there was an earthquake. 11 people have been taken to the hospital. Most are reporting minor injuries, cuts and bruises. One person did have smoke inhalation. The gas company cut power to 20 houses in the area. The entire portion of this neighborhood has been evacuated. They're not letting people back in, although I have seen fire officials and fire marshals walking one family member in at a time to come and get some things from their home, and then they will have to go somewhere else until this scene is clear. The gas company is working with the arson unit and Cleveland Fire to determine the cause, because that house that exploded was vacant. People who are displaced can go to the John F. Kennedy Rec Center on Harvard. And again, people with the gas company are telling News Channel 5 today that this is why it's so important, if you smell gas, to report it. Some people on the scene have told us that they had been smelling gas for at least a day, but the gas company said if that's true, no one called. They don't have a single record of anyone calling to report that. So that's why they're saying today this is a reminder to everyone. Be vigilant. If you think there's a problem, call. For now, reporting live, Marielle Liu, News Channel 5. Literally, the people's lives there turned upside down. Marielle Liu is handling the story for us. I should say that that's located at East 177th and Federal Avenue. That's in the southeast section of Cleveland, not too far from South Miles Road and Lee Road in the southeast part of the city. Well, the explosion certainly was felt miles away, but it was those in the neighborhood who are talking about what they saw and what they heard this morning. News Channel 5's Dan Haggerty continues our live team coverage. He's near the scene. Dan, what are the witnesses telling you this morning?
Well, Leon, when we first got here on the scene, hopped out of the car, there were hundreds of people on this block here. I'd say almost 300 of them. As soon as I jumped out of the car, people came up to me. One guy had an iPhone and showed me some video that he had on that. Take a look. He told me as soon as he heard the explosion at his house, he ran down, started shooting some video with the iPhone. By that point, though, this whole neighborhood was very chaotic. Listen to some of the reaction.
Then all of a sudden it was like a real big explosion. It was almost like an earthquake almost.
I don't know where nobody at. I saw the people running out, and I didn't know that the whole street had left.
They were crying, they were screaming, there was blood, there were about maybe 4 or 5 ambulances started to come, and I don't know how many fire trucks, but it was absolutely horrible.
A lot of kids were hurt, though. They made it out safe, and a lot
children were hurt?
A lot of children were hurt. A lot of debris got on them. A lot of them, I say about 4 or 5 of them was rushed to the emergency room.
I saw people laying out in the grass waiting on the ambulance to come and gather them up. It was a horrific scene.
And we heard that same story from dozens of people down here. Couldn't get all of them on camera. This place was very chaotic, as I said. And you see the road still closed. This is Tarkington here. 177 goes back that way. I'd say the home explosion only about 3 blocks down this road where police are still blocking it off. But the people in this neighborhood not quite as worried about when this road is going to open as they are for the nearly dozen or so people in the hospital right now. Reporting live in Cleveland, Dan Haggerty, News Channel 5.
Many thanks, Dan Haggerty, for your report from East 177th Street and Tarkington, not right near that area in southeast Cleveland. As we've mentioned, 11 people were transferred to Metro Health Medical Center, and that is where we find our colleague Kristen Sovereigns. She's with our partners at the Ohio News Network. Kristen, what can you tell us from the hospital point of view there at Metro Health?
Hey, Leon, 11 people were taken here to Metro, 6 adults and 5 children. Now, this is amazing, but doctors told me that all of them have minor injuries. He says that none of them will be admitted into the hospital. Some of them have been treated and released. Others are being treated right now. He says that all of the victims have either lacerations, bumps, or bruises from flying glass and falling objects. I talked to one woman. She was here visiting the hospital. She was bringing some clothes to the victims here. She told me that her best friend and her best friend's family lived in the home next to the home that exploded, so one of those homes that caught fire. She said that 3 adults and 5 children lived there. She says she rushed over to the neighborhood as soon as she heard about that explosion to try to help get those kids out of the home. Take a listen.
The house is gone. We know everyone that was in the house is safe. The only one we have not seen, or the only thing we have not seen, is the dog.
And that woman, Bridget Crump, told me that her best friend and her best friend's family will be released here shortly, and no one will be staying the night at the hospital. Live in Cleveland, I'm Kristen Sovereigns, the Ohio News Network.
Thank you very much, Kristen Sovereigns, handling the story for us from the hospital end. We are on this story, ladies and gentlemen, all day long. Keep it to News Channel 5 and NewsNet5.com throughout this day for any new developments on this breaking news story. We will have live team coverage ahead on Live on 5 and, of course, on News Channel 5, the 6 o'clock broadcast.